What's up? Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. This is the live stream session on getting traffic to your niche site. And what else is this? Yeah, basically I have 3 tips. It's getting traffic to your site and converting. So that's very important. It's cool to get traffic. It's even more important to make money and revenue, or whatever your goal happens to be. Perhaps you're trying to grow an email list or something like that. But today we're really focusing on niche sites and authority sites, bigger sites like that. So I know we have a few people in the house already. I hope several more people will trickle in. This is sort of like a little experiment. So I'll tell you more about it in a few days once I get like any results in. And I have no idea how it's going to go at this point. So I know we have Adrian on. What's up? Good to have you. We have Jonathan as well. Give me a shout in the chat and let me know if it's your first time on. Let me know, where you're from. Just say hello. I'll give you a shout out in a few minutes as we get started. So Emil is on as well. Now, I'm just going to launch right into it today and give everyone time to say hello. And I'm going to answer questions at the end. Hopefully we're in the traffic area. I'm going to cover a broad range of stuff today. So it gives you a lot of latitude to ask questions, and I'm happy to answer them up until about an hour. I have a meeting at 11, so like 59 minutes from now. So really excited to have everyone on. Like I said, a little bit of an experiment today, and hopefully the lighting's pretty solid. I think so. I got a lot of lights, a lot of fluorescent stuff pointing right at my face here. Okay, so I'm going to go over 3 tips to get traffic to your site. So these are niche sites, and if you're brand new to the channel or affiliate marketing in general, these are usually called niche sites or authority sites. They're roughly the same thing these days. It's really a branding thing between the two terms. The other part to note is these are usually like review sites, like product review sites of some kind, usually monetized with some affiliate program like Amazon Associates. That's primarily what we're talking about. It's the easiest way to get started in affiliate marketing, and people just buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, so it's low friction. You don't have to be an excellent copywriter or a salesperson to get this to happen. So these are the kind of sites we're talking about. I'm happy to answer more questions about the details of that. But, the number one mistake that beginners make, and I made this mistake also, was around keyword research. Now, in 2013, I learned about niche sites and just generally making money online from the Smart Passive Income podcast. I just randomly found Pat Flynn, listened to, I don't know, about 30 episodes, like so many hours of content within just a couple weeks. And I was like, this is great. I can't wait to start my own niche site. I remember I was like fretting over, buying, what was it called? Market Samurai, which was sort of like, this groundbreaking keyword research tool. Now it's sort of like out of date. I think you can technically still buy it, but it is sort of behind the times. It's a little old and dated. Basically, I did this keyword research and found what I thought was a great niche. Couple thousand searches per month, a few terms to go from, and the competition looked to be very low. There weren't very many other sites competing for these terms, and I thought, well, I got it made. This is going to be great. I'm going to monetize with AdSense. At the time I was looking at AdSense. That was kind of what like Pat Flynn's examples were. His case studies that he was publishing were usually based on AdSense, not always, but they were largely based on AdSense. So I was going that route, trying to follow in his footsteps, of course. And I launched the site, and no one really came to the site. Now, I eventually made, I think over a few months, I think I made about $100, right? I actually got a check from Google. I got a check with the AdSense earnings. So it wasn't a total wash, but it was very misguided. And the biggest mistake that I made was there was like no product associated with that keyword research that I did. So it was like it was kind of pointless, right? So I was trying to get traffic where like there was no product on Amazon that a person could purchase, right? They didn't sell these on Amazon. And as far as like the AdSense revenue, no one was actually selling these things. So like no one was going to make money, right? So no one was going to sell them, no one was going to make money, and that means no one is going to run ads with Google. So that whole monetization strategy was flawed from the very beginning, from the start, right? With keyword research. And the number one thing that you need to remember when you're looking for like keywords is buyer's keywords, right? You need to make sure there's some kind of buyer's intent somewhere, right? When you think about purchasing, I don't know, let's say a hot tub. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said, um, her and her husband have they decided to splurge and get a hot tub. They've been talking about it for years. Now, a hot tub cost, at least a couple $1,000s and up to several $1,000s, many considerations. And the point that I'm trying to make is there's a sales funnel where at the top people may just be looking, and I'm going to make a funnel shape here. That's what I'm doing. So you have like this funnel where people are doing like broad research in the beginning. Maybe they're asking about, is a hot tub right for me? Will a hot tub work in my yard? If it's very small, or, if there's sinkholes in the area. I'm not sure of the research people do for hot tubs. But as you go along the sales cycle, it may be like more and more specific. So there's always buyer's intent in that like hot tub research funnel. But as you get closer, like, how do I find an electrician to wire a 240 panel to my like, how do you do it? Like, I don't understand. So that's even further down. If someone is looking to rewire and have the wiring added to their house, then they're obviously pretty darn interested in the topic, right? So they're interested in purchasing, and hey, they may even buy like a $3,000 hot tub or a $5,000 hot tub and all the accessories associated with it. That's a good buyer's keyword, right? People don't buy hot tubs all the time, unfortunately. So the search volume would probably be lower, which is why it's a reasonable example for me to throw out here. But the idea is there's always some kind of buyer's intent. And when you have that in mind, you are literally looking for like someone who is on the way. This is the best scenario, right? You're looking for someone on the way to Amazon to make a purchase. They're just not sure exactly which hot tub to get, maybe. So it's, I don't even know hot tub brand names, but it's like hot tub A versus hot tub B. Which one should I get? Like, that's a great keyword because someone has done all this preliminary research, top of the funnel kind of stuff. And as they're going deeper, right, they're understanding, well, I'm looking at these two models, they're fairly similar, and I'm making a decision, and I know that these are like two of my favorites. So that's a great way to look at it. Now, as far as keyword research goes, I will mention, I'll plug my own webinar tomorrow. I'm doing a free no pitch webinar. There's a link in the description below, depending on where you're watching, if it's on a device or whatever. I'm not sure where it's at. In the description, there's a link to register for a keyword research free training. It's just a workshop tomorrow. You literally can't buy anything from me. I'm not selling anything. If you follow the link below, you can register for it. And there's a replay, right? Again, there's no sales pitch. So you could watch it at your leisure. You could watch it later in the future, and I'd be happy to have you on. Totally focused on keyword research tomorrow. So that's the number one thing. Make sure it's like buyer's intent. There needs to be buyer's intent somewhere in your keyword research, or you're not going to sell anything, which is the goal. Eventually, it's the goal. So I'm going to pause for a second. A lot of people hopped on. Really, really appreciate it. If you have the ability to give a thumbs up, I would love that. I would really love it. In fact, if you give a thumbs up and say, hey, I gave a thumbs up, I'll give you a personal shout out, like I usually do. I like to talk to people here. So Jonathan's on. Adrian, my man Emil, David is on. Good to have you on. Robert from the July class. Robert, awesome. Good to have you on. And David, this is not your first time around, buddy. Okay, and then Pastor is on as well. Pete asked about the new collie. Georgie, we got a new dog here in the last we've almost had her for 2 weeks. She's doing great. She's adjusting well. That's a whole other story. We have an Instagram that we set up for her. So if people actually care, I can share the link here. Actually, by the way, are people into Instagram here, or do people that are watching this right now, let me know if you're into Instagram. And okay, let's see. Sean, what's up? Vibhor, awesome. Other David, you're looking to decide your niche for your new Amazon store. D-Card is on. Carl is working out the keyword golden ratio. Joseph, what's up? Watching in Bangkok. And let's see, we got, okay, yeah, Vibhor gave me a thumbs up. Cool. David did also. Jonathan, Adrian, D-Card, fantastic. And I see the likes are creeping up as we speak. Mikhail generally lurks, and that's cool. And David R says yes on Instagram. Dennis is on. London and Duke. Awesome. Chris gives me multiple thumbs up. Very cool. Okay. The reason, so I'm going to launch into the second one. So first one, keyword research, make sure people eventually want to spend money, right? So even if we have all the best intentions, generally, if you're watching this, you want to learn, but you also want to make some money. And at the end of the day, like, someone has to buy something somewhere from someone, even if it's not you. So there has to be buyer's intent. The second thing is to actually get traffic to your site, right? So getting traffic to your site is one of the most common questions. I could probably do 30 videos and just like talk about like micro pieces of getting traffic to your site. Now, the cool part is there are hundreds, maybe thousands of different strategies to get traffic to your site. If you're looking at organic SEO, there are thousands of strategies to do things for organic search traffic from Google typically, but it could be from Bing or Yahoo, or, if you go like more literal with search engines, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, those are all search engines as well. And they all have their little quirks for SEO on those particular platforms. Now, the thing is, there's too many options, right? You have all those different platforms that I just mentioned, and each market is a little bit different. Each niche is a little bit different. Pinterest may be huge for some aspect of like home decorations or something like that. While, YouTube may have a whole different set of people that are interested in home decorating, but it's like a different audience. Podcasts are out there too. And I guess technically, right, like whatever podcast app you have is a type of search engine too that you have to be aware of if you're launching a podcast. Now, of course, we're talking about niche sites today. The big problem is there are way too many strategies. So if you listen to, me, right, I try and keep it concise and not throw out too many ideas. I try. But if you search the internet in general and you're trying to figure out how to get traffic to your niche site, you're going to have tons of strategies. It's going to be overwhelming. And if you're anything like me, I have sympathy for you. But if you're anything like me, you'll probably learn about all these opportunities, and you'll try a little piece here, you'll try a little piece there. You'll build a couple Web 2.0 blogs. Maybe you play around on Pinterest and you start sharing some stuff. Maybe you hear about an app that helps you share things on Pinterest, and maybe you also share some things on Facebook too. And you just kind of dabble in like 10 different areas. It feels really good while you're doing it because you're following someone's instructions probably. And you're learning along the way, you're making a couple mistakes, you're sharing things, and you get a little traffic, maybe a little traction here and there. And then you never actually focus hard in one area. That's a common thing that I mentioned. A lot of times you have to like ignore most everything except like one channel, say organic SEO, and then dive in hard on that. Now, this number two tip about getting traffic, maybe even like today, like literally, if you do some of this stuff, if you start working, you do this for a few hours today, you may get a little traffic, right? Not a ton. You're not going to be able to quit your job, but it's around blog commenting. And the thing with blog commenting is it got a bad name a few years ago. It got a bad name because a lot of, I guess, like spammers, we'll call them spammers. A lot of people started using apps. They went to a software solution. They used some app that would comment on blogs all over the internet and like spam your link around or their link around. And there was some, early on, you could actually rank with like comment spam, and you could sort of manipulate your anchor text and boost your site in the Google ranks just with blog comments. And then that changed, right? So blog comments became Nofollow, and then we became more sophisticated in blocking these bots basically from commenting these fake spammy things on our sites. So I use a few plugins to help limit that. But here's the thing, blog commenting still works. And the reason you can get traffic today, if you do it, again, not necessarily easy, not guaranteed. You will have to spend time at it. But if you comment on blogs that get traffic that are at least a top, like that post, at least if that blog post is in the, niche, in the topic area that you're trying to get traffic to, if you comment on the blog and you mention something intelligent, and maybe you leave a little, some bit of curiosity in your blog comment, people will maybe follow the link. And I'll go into more detail here, but they may follow the link back to your main domain and check out your site. Now, it's pretty interesting. And again, I'll go into the details, but it's pretty interesting because this is super effective as far as networking goes, because probably the person who will follow the link, one of the most likely people to follow the link on the comment that you leave, is the blogger that you commented on, right? The blog owner that you commented on. So the thing is, you have to be careful not to look spammy when you're doing this manually, right? You have to do this manually, or you'll end up in that sort of that spammer category, which you don't want to be in, right? You don't want to be in that. So here's the thing you have to do. You have to find like relevant topics, blog posts to comment on. Now, you shouldn't try and comment on like your competitor site because, they're probably not going to approve your comment just in general. Now, it depends if it's like a bigger authority site, then they'll probably like won't feel threatened by like your comment as long as you have like a good blog. It's not like all affiliate content or anything like that. So you would want to look at what I call like the shoulder industries, right? Shoulder niches that are sort of related. It's like the same kind of audience would be interested. And I'll give a quick example. Let's say you have a survival niche site. People that are interested in outdoor activities and products are also interested in survival. There's a good overlap in the audience. If you think about like the Venn diagram of the overlap, there's a lot there. So if you had a survival site, you can maybe comment on outdoor sites, camping sites, stuff like that. You probably wouldn't want to comment on like the home decorating site, because people that are interested in home decorating are probably not interested in survival, right? Much less overlap in that case. And you could just think about it as like the audience, right? So if it's a similar audience, you're good to go. Now, the thing you'll want to do is like find something that's kind of related, right? So if we're taught, I wrote like a little example earlier. I often give pen examples. So I wrote blue pen down. So I have a blue pen here. So if your niche, this is a arbitrary, like pretty contrived example. if your niche was like writing utensils and you were trying to get some traffic to your post about blue pens, best blue pens, for example, you probably couldn't go to other competitor pen sites. Like I said, they're probably not going to help you out much. However, if maybe you think about other people who are interested in pens. So just curious in the chat, can anyone think of some shoulder industries where people are interested in pens? And let me know in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, you can let me know in the comments too. So you could just write the question in, what are shoulder industries for blue pens, and just write your answers down. I'll comment and reply back to anyone who answers that. Duke says art. Okay, great. Art. Anthony says writers. Perfect. I wrote like sort of self-help, because a lot of people that may be into the self-help area, like would do journaling, right? So you could figure out like specific once you figure out like specific niches, you can go a little deeper, right? So Duke mentions art, Anthony mentions writers, but you could go a little bit deeper into like topics, and you could maybe just go to an art blog, see what they're writing about, see if they like talk about paper or something like that. So I wrote journaling, so I could maybe just put it in Google, like journaling tips, and a couple key things, right? So I would put in like journaling tips as a starting point, and then there's an advanced search like filtering feature. I think it's called like search tools or advanced search. There's a little drop down, and I like to look for stuff that was published in the last like 30 to 45 days. Why? Because that means they're publishing stuff at least recently, right? They're publishing things recently and probably often. And if that's the case, that means they're probably going to approve your comment, or at least look at your comment. What you don't want to do, and this is one of the big mistakes I made, is I would just search for that, and then I would comment on someone's blog from like 4 years ago, and they don't write anymore. They check their comments like once a quarter or something like that. So it's really a bad use of time if you're not commenting on an active blog. And a couple other mentions here. Carl says pen case collectors. Yeah, exactly. Kidsloo calligraphers. And then Jonathan says business branding sites like Vistaprint. London Theater says teaching. Awesome. These are all perfect. Calligraphy. Why you should, and we're getting ideas for like specific, I guess like specific things to search for. So here's the thing. So come up with some idea, like think of the niche, come up with some ideas, maybe look at some blogs to get ideas what people are searching for in those areas. And then make sure when you do the search that you're finding stuff that's recent. If you don't have like recent blogs to comment on, then refine your search a little bit. You're not going to get it the first time, but the good part is it takes like just a couple minutes to like check one search term, see how it is, check a couple more, and then you refine it and do better. So once you find like a search term that works well, and you have like a list of blogs to comment on, read the post, figure out some intelligent comments, right? It needs to be intelligent. I highly recommend asking a question of some kind, so people have to reply back to you. You kind of want them to remember who you are. So a couple things you need to, where it has like the name field, put in your name, right? Don't put in keywords or anything like that. You can try to put your name and then say like name, like at like AT, and then the name of your blog, like the brand name. So maybe if I commented on like Neil Patel's blog, I would say Doug at Niche Site Project, or from Niche Site Project, something like that. You'll usually be able to see like in the other comments on that blog post if people are leaving their brand name there. Sometimes people put it in parentheses or they use the pipe character, like that's the vertical character, to separate their name from the brand of their sites, right? So you can put some brand stuff in there, but don't put in best blue pen, right? Don't do that. People used to do that, and that will not get approved. You'll look like a jackass, and it's just kind of a bad idea. So don't do that. Put in your name. That's good to go, right? Put in your name. Next, you need to be sure for the website field that you just put in your domain name. So HTTP slash, whatever your domain name is, you put that in. You don't want to put in like the long URL that you're trying to get links to. Again, it looks spammy and it's probably not going to be approved and just a bad idea. So don't do that. Just put in the domain name. Now, leave a comment. Just leave a regular old comment. You don't have to do anything crazy like put your link in there. Now, very rarely, right? Very rarely you can put your link in there. That is by far the exception case. And it would have to be so highly relevant that like someone asks, hey, I'm really looking for like what's the best blue pen. It would be great to know. And then if you put the answer in, well, that's super helpful. And even more people will follow that. But you have to be like 100% sure that people are looking for that information, they're interested in it, and so on. And let's see, we have a couple comments here, and Anthony put in specifically, so it's like John Doe pipe writing with a purpose. Exactly, Anthony. That is something you could put in with your name in the name field. So the key thing is, so whole recap on the blog commenting aspect here. You need to find relevant blogs that are a similar audience to yours. Don't try and go to a competitor site. It's going to be kind of an uphill battle. Don't be spammy, right? Don't try to put your keywords in. Don't try it for your name. Don't try and put your keywords in for your name. You may be able to put some branding in there if that's a thing that's happening on the site. That's quite common once you start looking around. Additionally, don't put your link in the comment unless you're just 100% absolutely sure that people are looking for that information. If they're not looking for it, then you will come off as a spammer and you probably won't have your comment approved. So that is part 2. Again, I'll just pause here to recap. I'm going to hit the chat here for a second, have a sip of coffee. So number 1, you do need to make sure that your keywords have buyer's intent, or you're just sort of spinning your wheels. That's not going to be profitable in the same way that like a buyer's intent type keyword is going to be profitable. The second part is if you want to get traffic really quickly, even though it could be a small amount, go do blog commenting. Now, the magic here is you could do a large amount of blog commenting for relatively cheap if you hire someone, or it just takes your time of sitting there. If you don't have a budget but you have a lot of time, you can sit there, do these blog comments all day long. If you spend maybe 30 minutes a day, you could probably do 5 to 10 per day. And if you just do one day of it, who cares? But if you do like 30 or 60 or 90 days of it, that's a lot of backlinks just in general. It's a lot of opportunities from relevant blog posts for people to actually follow your link and maybe check out your site. So that is number 2. And I do see in the chat here. Okay, and Kids Lou says, how about commenting with comment love? Is it even better? Yeah, comment love is great. That is sort of 2.0, but beyond the scope of what I'm going to talk about today. I do have another video, actually maybe a couple videos on comment love and commenting using that strategy. The advantage, I'll just mention it real quick. Comment love basically gives you a link back to your most recent blog post. So a lot of times I will use comment love as part of the search string, and then that'll only show results that have comment love on it, because wherever comment love is used, it's like on the page. So it's a pretty easy footprint to check out. And I recommend, at least trying out comment love. You don't have to install it on your site, but you look for comment love as a footprint out there. Okay. Carl mentions nice comments, to wish someone well with their blog or website, gets great results, and it starts the conversation. You could build a relationship. Perfect. That launches into point number 3. So we'll get to that in a second. And London says, does it matter if it's a no follow link? What value? Okay. So generally, the comments, like 99% of the time, or they're going to be no follow links. So usually, like by default, comments are no follow links. So what value does it give? Well, number one, if you actually can get traffic through a no follow link, well, that's a good link regardless, right? So let's say, for example, you comment on like the Tim Ferriss blog, right? The 4-Hour Workweek blog, and you leave a kick-ass comment, and your links in there, and you get a lot of traffic. That's a good link to have. Secondarily, like as Carl mentions, you start building a relationship. Like part of the blog commenting is like you're networking, and you're meeting people in the niche, which is a good thing, right? It's all about your network. A lot of times it's all about your network. And then further, just in general, it's good to have a diverse link profile. So if you have no follow links, but it's from like a huge number of domains on different IP addresses, like that's good, right? That's generally good. Now, there's probably some point like, I don't know what it is. I'm just going to make something up. But let's say you have like 100 referring domains or something like that. Like if you get 1,000 referring domains that are all no follow, like I don't know, like if there's basically diminishing returns from that. But the point is, if you want to get traffic that is interested in the topic that you're writing about, it doesn't matter if it's no follow, right? If they're interested, they're into it. So the other thing is like if you're only interested in do follow links, then strategy 3 is more interesting to you. So, okay. Let's see. And Anthony says, what if a competitor has already commented in the blog post? That is totally fine. It probably means you're on the right track. So David says, what do I think of a domain? Okay, and I'll come back to that since it's not relevant exactly. Okay, so part 3. So again, quick recap. Number 1, buyers keywords. Number 2, if you want traffic pretty quick, start doing blog commenting, right? So typically when I'm working with students in 5-figure niche site, people that get sales within like the first 6 weeks are people that do the blog commenting as prescribed, maybe a little bit extra, and people follow the links back to their site within the blog comments, right? Just the name, they follow the links, and then they buy something at Amazon. Again, they're not able to quit their jobs yet. They're not making like thousands, but it's like that first little bit, they're not even ranking anything yet. They hardly have any content on their site, yet they've made their first $4 or $5 or whatever. It just takes some blog comments. So number 3 is the thing that everyone wants to get out of. People hate it. The people that accept the fact that you have to do link building usually go a little bit further. So some of my friends over at what the heck is the name of it's like the Income School guys. So my buddies over there, Jim and Ricky, great guys. I have an interview on this channel, so if you're interested, check that out. But they do no link building at all. Now, my argument is, and maybe I'll challenge them. I know they're very busy, but I'll challenge them to a little debate. So my argument is, You could do great, right? You could do fine if you don't do any link building. But if you do link building, like you can get returns that are like exponential on the effort, right? So once you refine what you're doing with the link building activities, it's not nearly as difficult as everyone thinks it is. Um, it still feels like a lot of work. Maybe it takes a little while to do, like a few weeks. But if you're building something big, I mean, a few weeks or a few months is not really long. So, okay, I'll get to the point. The thing is, when you do these blog comments from part two, it naturally moves into the part three, which is guest posting. So, if you are networking, commenting on people's blogs, you'll have like a whole list of people that have seen your name, right? They've seen your name, they potentially seen your site, or at least they're aware of your domain because you've commented on their blog maybe one or two or three times. And if you're really good, maybe you sent them an email, maybe you signed up for their email list, sent them an email, asked them a question, wished them well, told them happy holidays, whatever you want to do to network is fine. Usually if you act like yourself and you're nice, like that works out fine. And as you're building the relationship, like if they're blogging, they probably know that guest posting is a good thing to do. Like you could potentially, here's another nice thing to do. Maybe you have a list of like 10 blogs that you think are really great. You've commented on them and you eventually want to guest post, but you want to do something nice for these folks first so that they actually like really know who you are. And the good old rule of reciprocity, like if you do something for them, they're going to want to do something for you. So little 2.0 thing, little advanced thing is publish a like the 10 best blogs for journaling like in 2017, right? So again, pretty contrived example, but like you get the point. So publish some best of thing where you're putting them on a pedestal. You're basically, linking to their site. You're saying, hey, these people are cool. Follow them on social. I look up to, this person and I look up to that person. Here's the reason why. And do like a little feature and basically just say nice stuff about them, right? So if you do that, even if you're a super small blogger, like people are going to appreciate that. If you've watched a couple of these, you've heard me read. Anytime there's a compliment to me, I read it, right? Like I'll do that. I'm fairly humble just in general, but I mean, if someone's going to read me a compliment or tell me a compliment, I'll read it out loud, So the thing with the guest posting is the more work you put up front to build the relationship, the higher the conversion rate will be. If you're in a hurry, right? If you're in a hurry and you ask for a guest post like the second time that you contact the person, it's going to not go as well. You'll get a lower conversion rate at the end of the day. You'll feel like it's taking longer if you have a lot of touch points. But if you want to get a really good like mention or guest post or someone to like go out on a limb for you, building the relationship could take months, right? I'm working on, I can't even mention them, but like I'm working on building relationships with certain people where I may not get anything out of it for like 6 months or a year, but like if anything ever pans out, like having that person like on my side is a good thing. And it may not be like initially what I thought I was going to need help with, but like in the future, they may be able to help me. Maybe they're going to connect me with someone in their network that could, change my business, right? So the same thing can happen for you if you're just spending time to build the relationship. Maybe you don't get a guest post on their blog, but maybe they hook you up with someone's YouTube channel or podcast. And then you have a whole other set of, people that are interested, a whole other like platform where you can get traffic that you didn't even think about, right? So spending time to build a relationship is really important. Now, if you are in a hurry, just relax, right? If you're in a hurry, you probably don't want to hear me say relax. You have plenty of time. You may feel a lot of pressure that you need to make things happen quickly. Believe me, I do too. However, usually if you slow down and do things a little more deliberately, you'll actually get more stuff, more important stuff done, even though you may not have as much, you may not be sending as many like pitch emails, but maybe you only send half as many, but you converted like 50% or something like that. So, and by the way, this I'm testing stuff. So a lot of times I will test things for months. I maybe will have a few friends test it as well before I tell you about strategies that I'm working on. This is opposed to some of the influencers or bloggers who say, "Hey, I'm doing a case study. Here's what I'm doing as I go. And here's what I think is going to happen." And then when it doesn't work out and a bunch of people just followed them, everyone just made the same mistake. And that's kind of not cool. So I'm testing something right now, and the results are like kind of blowing my mind. I can't believe it. It's something I put off for a little while. But as far as like this specific outreach method that I'm using, it's something I've dabbled in for the last year, and I'm now focused on it. From instead of doing, I'm digressing, small tangent here, everyone. Um, I've been publishing a lot of keyword golden ratio content from like the tail end of the summer up until like the last couple weeks. So that sprint of work, that huge amount of work, like 250 articles published on one site, about 100 on another site, that is complete, right? So it took me a little while to build the team, and I neglected my link building stuff. Well, now I'm coming back to the link building stuff, and it's working well. It's kind of fun, and I'm excited to share it sometime. It may be well into the future, but it seems to be doing really well. And it's all about building the relationship and not being in a hurry. Not being in a hurry really makes things go faster. So I should make that a quote somehow. Okay. So those are the three things. I'll do a quick recap, and then I'm going to hit the questions. I see there's several more in there. Please ask some more questions. I have 18 more minutes and then I have to go, but I'll answer as many questions in a rapid fire fashion if I can. For the people that just joined up, I will mention a couple things. There's a webinar tomorrow on keyword research. It's free. There's no pitch. You can't buy anything, even if you wanted to. There's a Q&A session on Friday, the same time that this one started, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Please, if you're interested in asking like random questions, that's the time to do it. You'll get a little bit longer of an answer from me. And it sounds like a couple people are actually interested in Instagram, and I may start posting a little more often. It's an interesting, I like lurking on Instagram, right? I like lurking on Instagram, but I haven't like started most of it, like 90% of my pictures are like pictures of alcohol or food. so it's just it's not very it's not congruent with anything that I do online, other than it's just me like doing stuff. However, right, it's a lot of family and friends on there. I would like branch out. Like if people wanted to follow me on Instagram, I would look into it. It's a fine platform. I enjoy it. Okay. The recap. Number one, the right kind of keyword research, buyers keywords. Number two, blog commenting. It can get you traffic quickly, and it leads you into part three, which is the thing no one wants to do. That's link building, asking for guest posts, and actually putting in the time to do like networking and relationship building and getting people to like you, and just like being part of the community versus like going and trying to take links and like blast your links out, blast out all these emails. I get all these garbage emails. People are just pitching me with bad emails, and that's not going to work in the future. I would say that has a timeline where it's just going to like go away. Additionally, like people are getting so many pitches that they're just asking for money now. Bloggers are just saying, hey, this is a supply and demand situation. Before we weren't charging, but now I have Fat Joe contacting me, trying to send me articles for free, and I don't understand why. Well, people are starting to figure that out, and there's going to be some sort of something's going to happen there. something's going to happen there. Okay, let's get to the questions. David says, what do you think of a domain with words like shopping-prime with .com? I don't know. I don't like that personally. It doesn't tell me anything about the site. But maybe you wanted to ask like something more specific. If you have a follow-up, let me know. But I'm not sure like your point of view or your perspective on that, why you're asking. Jonathan says, do I usually see a compounding growth in traffic as you target more keyword golden ratios regardless of search volume? Or does the growth match your searches exactly? I do see the compounding growth. I can't say if it's, just a linear path of like pretty even as I'm adding more content, or if it's exponential or geographic, or if you're a math nerd, other types of like graphs that you may see. It rarely matches the search volumes exactly. And I haven't gone to the level of tracking like which articles are bringing in more traffic versus their expected search volume. The thing is, certain articles will attract more long tail keywords based on, I don't know what, could be length of the article, could be specific topic, could be the products, number of products available, maybe the number of products that I put in the post. But typically you're going to have, most of the keywords, right? So say about 50 to 75% of the keywords are going to be pretty close to like the search volume you expect. You're going to have maybe like 12.5% that have like that don't meet expectations. Then you'll have 12.5% that exceed expectations on some fashion. And some of them may like completely blow you away and some may never get any traffic. It's kind of a volume play. So you have to publish more. Like more and more, and then it works out because you'll have more opportunities to succeed. Blue Fuse, what's up? You've been doing some blog commenting over the last couple days. You've noticed that with Comment Love, it seems that most of them are just auto approved. Do I find it to be true for most of them? I find not necessarily most of them. I find that it happens often, right? So a lot of times they'll be auto approved, but it just depends. Anthony asks, should you still leave a comment if a competitor left a comment, or if there are several high quality comments? Yes, you still should leave one there. Again, if your competitor has commented on a blog, it probably means you're on the right track. You may as well go for it. Pedro, what's up? Good to have you on. What are your thoughts on outsourcing link building and guest posting? I think it's great. You should do that if you have the ability to. If you hire a service, I would make really sure that they're doing a good job and they're not just placing links on crappy sites, or maybe it's a PBN. Oops, sorry, I hit the desk. But I outsource my link building and my content and generally the boots on the ground, busy work stuff, very important stuff, but I hire people to help me out on that. It's people that I hire like personally. It's not a service. So Pedro, outsource it for sure. If you got more time than money, definitely do that. Make sure they're doing a good job. Austin, what's up? Good to have you on. If I posted 30 well-written articles and let a website sit, how many months would Google take to rank your content? There are many variables involved if it was my site. So I don't know any of the variables that that would be relevant, but maybe 6 months, right? This is sort of the sandbox period. When you say rank, right? Do you mean rank like in the top 100, or do you mean rank in the top 10? Are you talking about getting traffic or whatever? So, I mean, I think for me, right? Like, if you know exactly what to do and like which keywords to go for, and you publish 10 articles and you follow like the steps that I mentioned, you should be able to get some traffic in, I don't know, Few weeks, right? There are people in the 5-figure niche site course that publish 10 articles and they have traffic like right away. They have posts that rank in the top 10 like in the week that they've registered their domain. Not everyone's like that though. Like some people struggle and they don't, they're unable to get a huge amount of traffic, or maybe they get some early, but it doesn't scale and grow as much as they would expect. So there are a lot of different variables. So Austin, I would say it depends. If you just publish stuff and then let it sit, it may never rank, right? You can't not work on it. So hopefully that's helpful, Austin. If you have follow-ups, let me know. Adrian says some of the blogs are asking to be subscribed before you do comments. Do I skip those or actually take the time to register if they're an important site? You know what? I haven't run into that problem. I would probably just skip it because like there's a billion blogs out there, right? So just move on. However, if you really think it's important and you want to build the relationship, then yeah, register, build a relationship. Anthony says, does PBN mean private blog network? Yes, at least I think that's what you're asking. And Austin mentions, what if they're low competition? Yeah, so I think my answer still stands. If things are really perfect, you can rank in the first, few weeks, or it could be 6 months or never, even if they're low competition. And again, if you just publish stuff and let it sit, probably nothing's going to happen, right? If it's really low competition, keyword golden ratio content, maybe, right? Maybe you'll get a little more traffic. So if you do more work, you'll get more traffic. And this kind of goes back to, like I said, I'll probably challenge my buddies over at the income school just to say, hey, like I have seen sites that do well, but if you want to do even better, you got to do the link building. The link building stuff is more confusing. It's more work. If you're going to outsource it, you have to build a team to do a whole other set of skill, like a whole other set of activities. So like, it's just a lot more work, right? To build links. It's a lot more work. Generally, people don't like it. So if you can like do extra work, it'll pay off. Like usually if you do extra work, it'll pay off. And Kids Lou says either I missed my question, you missed my question, or you skipped it. Go ahead and ask it again. I thought I got to it, but ask it again. The chat moves fast, so I apologize if I missed it. Tao says, when commenting, do I use my name in the anchor text or something else? So I use like the name of the persona or a persona on the site, typically. Anthony says, how do I feel about posting in social media such as Facebook, but not a paid ad? It's fine. If you like Facebook or whatever other social platform, go for it. Okay. Austin says, you're an avid watcher of the Income School and you're a channel that endorses no link building or social media. They are of the belief that just writing killer content can create backlinks. What are my thoughts? So Austin, I think be sure you check out the interview with those guys. So my thought is kind of, but not really, right? It kind of works, but like I know that there's a lot more content on the internet these days. So like if you reference a site that was created, like the photography site that they reference, like that site it's pretty old, it's very good, and it has some history. Like it has backlinks because it's been around longer. So if you're around earlier on a platform, blogging, then you can maybe get more links. So I kind of argue that like, even if you just create killer content, that it'll just magically find its way to the top. I think that's kind of BS. And I think you do have to promote, right? You have to promote and you have to get out there and put your content out there for people to find it. And then you have to tell them about it. You have to reach out to influencers. And the thing is, and I'll give it an example, an analogy, and any other questions, get them in now. I only have a couple more minutes here to answer them. So on so I'll repeat my point from before. I think you can do fine if you don't build any backlinks and you publish good content. It depends on the niche, but I would say like maybe a particular niche is going to cap out at like $500. Another one maybe 1,000, maybe even 5,000 if you have like a whole bunch of content and you just don't build any links at all. I would also say if you look at a site that has like a small amount of okay content, but they spent all their effort on link building because maybe they're really skilled, like the team is really skilled at link building, they build links. I'm almost certain even like inferior content with okay links, but a lot of them or a few number of links, but really good ones will make more money than a site with no links. Like if you could rank keywords that have higher search volumes, like you're just going to get so many more visitors to your site. If they're buyers keywords, you're going to get so many more conversions. So I think again, it'll be cool to debate Jim and Ricky and just like go back and forth. My argument is you hit an artificial ceiling, or not an artificial, you hit a ceiling if without link building or promotion or whatever. My analogy is on YouTube, my channel is growing, right? I'm putting out content, I'm putting a lot of it. I'm not necessarily doing killer content, but I'm getting better over time. Like each little video, I incrementally, hopefully, get a little bit better. The video quality and production quality is getting a little bit better, and things are improving. I've been able to grow my channel without doing anything different, right? I've just put a lot of time in. I'm publishing just a ton of stuff. At this point in time, I see sort of like leveled out growth. However, I noticed when I did a couple collaborations with people with like bigger channels, which is like the guest posting of the YouTube world, right? It's a perfect fit. It's the same stuff, right? You go to someone's channel, you comment, you like their stuff, they kind of know who you are, and then you say, hey, do you want to do a little collaboration? It's guest posting with video, right? That's what a YouTube collaboration is. I am doing a huge amount of that currently, and I hope in a few months we'll see the results from it. And I hope it'll be like more subscribers and not just like slow linear growth, but some sort of like some spikes. And then like I won't go back down to the slow growth that I was at before. It'll just continue to grow. So, and then there are other people, right? So there are some of my competitors on YouTube who actually don't put out that, like the content isn't that great, but they started like 3 years ago and they have a huge following. And maybe their content is right for the people that they're trying to sell things to. But just not for me when I look at, hey, do they actually have like affiliate chops? Like are they just selling like a course that they don't know what they're doing? And I see a few of those people out there. By the way, Jim and Ricky are not. They know what they're talking about. Again, they're my friends. Much respect for them. So, okay. 2 minutes left. I'm going to blast through these questions. Anthony says, and thanks for the comment, Austin. I will be interviewed on the Income School channel. They just haven't published it yet. So it's out there. And yeah, I asked him the other day. So Anthony says, when should you do link building? Right after your site is live? Yeah, basically get started. Don't wait. No reason to wait. Embracing Wellness says, my domain authority is 3. How do I increase this number? Backlinks. Can anything else help increase this number? Yeah, basically backlinks will help increase that number. However, don't chase that metric. Who cares what your domain authority is? You actually want to like do well in rankings. And so don't focus on the domain authority, focus on getting backlinks and getting traffic. Sean says, what email provider do I recommend if you're just starting? I use Aweber. They're great for me. They're adding more like functionality at this point in time. If I was just starting, I would probably check out Drip. they allow you to like grow into like sophisticated email marketing. You don't necessarily need that, but I would probably like do that. Embracing Wellness says you enjoy the videos with Rob. Awesome. Really good to hear. And there are more of those in the queue. I think Rob and I are going to be doing a lot more. Okay. I have a meeting. This was awesome. Thanks for joining up. And don't forget, free webinar tomorrow. There's a link below in the description. No pitch. You just come and show up. Friday, general Q&A. So thanks, and we'll see you soon. Oh, what's up, Leo? I got a jet.